very much for coming here this morning. Today is an important day because it's another very concrete example of the way reform of county government has started to really benefit the taxpayers and our school districts and our cities. One of the real tragedies of the county corruption scandal wasn't just the laws that were broken. It was the money that really should have been used for services in our community that was diverted for other purposes. And what happened with the real estate assessment fund was part of that problem. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, this is a fund that every county in Ohio is entitled to a certain allocation to do appraisal services. And that is set by a state formula. Now, back in the year 2000 was the last time there was ever any kind of a refund from the county to school districts or to cities. And there was about $2 million that was given out at the time. That's the last time that any of this money was returned to either cities or schools. Now, what happened after the year 2000? Well, we had a different treasurer. And Mr. Russo came into office, and ever since he came into office, he held all of that money back for the county. So there was no refund whatsoever. By the way, that's in contrast to many, many counties across Ohio that were able to give significant refunds to their schools and cities. So the challenge that I gave to Director Wade Steen, who's our fiscal officer, when we came into office, is we said, is there a way that we can run this property collection and appraisal system so efficiently that we can actually refund money to those school districts in particular and cities that are so strapped for funds right now, particularly with what's happened with school funding and cuts to local government. So that was the challenge. Now, the county is entitled to collect about $20 million a year, and we were able, by being more efficient and in our operations, to return about $5 million to both school districts, cities, and other government entities. So as this chart shows, the schools are the number one beneficiary. So over $3,200,000 is going to be returned to the school districts. Other entities, and by that we mean things such as the metro parks or other government entities, are going to collect a little over $1 million, and then municipalities about $700,000. Now, it all depends in terms of exactly how much money they get. It depends on how much property is appraised for in their taxing district. So it's kind of a one-to-one formula in terms of what their property value is and how much they get back. So that's why the numbers vary. So those that have the lowest property values or the fewest number of parcels, they're going to be getting the smallest amount of money back. What we're going to provide you here today is a list of all of the communities and entities and how much money they're going to be getting back. Now, the other thing that we're doing, because our total costs were about $10.5 million. That's $10 million less than these services were done under the Russo administration of this particular county function. $5 million is going back to schools and cities. The other $5 million is being reinvested to make our system even more efficient so that we can have greater efficiencies as the years go by. One of the additional sins of the previous administration was they also did not invest in technology. So we're actually dealing with a second-rate system with second-rate hardware and software. So we're using some of the money to invest in the system. What does that do? Well, it means that in future years we'll be able to do the appraisal even quicker, more efficiently. It will be more convenient for taxpayers and customers, and we'll be able to do it for less money, which means we'll be able, hopefully, to return even more money to the taxpayers or to their school districts and cities. Now, going forward, we think that we may be able to continue to do this every 3 years. So we haven't budgeted yet. I was talking to some of these school superintendents earlier, and this is not money that they budgeted for because, again, they hadn't received it from the county since the year 2000. But we're hoping that this can be a regular thing so that we can start giving some real assurance to cities and school districts that we're going to be there for them when it comes to be doing these appraisals and try to actually give them some assistance. That could be available to them as soon as 2015. So Again, this isn't required that we do this. If the county wanted to, we could have hung on to all this money for our own operations. But this is just the latest example of how county reform isn't just the right thing to do ethically or morally, it's also the right thing to do economically, and it's the right thing to do in support of our cities and our school districts in particular.
My name is Jeff Patterson. I'm superintendent of schools in Lakewood, and we're very grateful for a refund check today in the amount of about $116,000. And the early plans would be to take the money back to our school district and put it right back into the classroom. In the purchase of technology, we have a big push in technology in our school district. Our ultimate goal is to go to one-to-one computing at our high school. So we're excited about this opportunity.
The efforts on the part of the county here to, through their efficiencies, recapture some of that funds and then return it to local cities and schools is going to really help us make up that difference in the deficit. So we're going to be able to complete a lot of the projections that we made through our budget for this year as a result of getting some of these funds back.
I found out a few days ago that it was coming, but again, didn't know the dollar amount till this morning, and quite frankly, it was substantially larger than I'd hoped. Now again, like everyone else, there are cuts everywhere, so it's nice to see, even though it doesn't offset the losses we make, it's still nice to see that money is being spent responsibly in other areas, and some of that's, we benefit as a result of that. So thank you.
It's really good to see the changes that are happening in the county government that will provide the efficiencies to give back to our local communities.